What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you on Friday morning. I hope everybody's doing good today. I'm doing pretty well. Freezing my man boobs off right now at a temperature of 27 degrees according to the truck radio over here. I think it's a little bit colder than that. We always have a stretch of a week or two in the winter in the upstate of South Kakalaki where we have some rather frigid temperatures. This year's not going to be any different. I don't think we're going to get any kind of significant snowfall or anything this year. It just doesn't seem to really be in the cards anymore for that to happen, which is it's fine with me. I'm a more mild to warm weather type of person myself, so that works out pretty well. But you didn't click on this video to hear me talk about the weather. We want to talk about what's in the title there. Tennessee YouTuber Sports Talk J's back at it again, folks, and this one is an absolute doozy. If you haven't seen it yet, click down in the description box below. I got the link to the video right there for you. Look, you've probably already seen it. It's 17,000 views in less than 24 hours. Video is just absolutely on fire. You know, that would rank in the top 5 of the Carolina Jackpot videos of all time. Top 5. That's one. This is just a perfect example of what gets me so frustrated about YouTube, about doing this YouTube thing. Is you get over here and you put content out as much as you can, as good as you can, in between doing everything else you got to do in life, and grind away, and 17,000 being your top 5. But then you've got someone who engages in, shall we call it, engagement farming. That's the nice way of putting it. My way of putting it is clickbait. And tons and tons of people click on it, and they absolutely eat it up. And I'll tell you, there's a ton of idiot voltards in his comment section that think this is the gospel truth. It's not. I'm here to tell you. So you can go ahead and watch this video, but I'll give you a synopsis of it. Sports Talk J says that there's rumors circulating on the internet that Lanorris Sellers is going to hit the transfer portal and leave South Carolina. And here are the top 5 destinations that he could land at. Now, to give context around that, this comes from an article from a site called Fansided. So it's fan-sided, meaning that the title of that particular website there, that's exactly what it is. It's fan-sided. You have fans writing in with articles that they've written, which is no different than getting on and doing a YouTube video about whatever subject you want to do it on. You're writing they have no fact to base this on. In fact, as soon as I saw the title of this video, before I ever even watched the video, I scrambled over to the Gamecock message board, both of them, the On3 one and the 24/7 one, to see if is there anything here about this. Absolutely nothing. Not one single solitary peep about any such news. It's BS. It's made up. But I think the top 5 destinations, one of them was Ole Miss, I'm sure he'd love to have a quarterback like that. Old Lane Kiffin, he'd love to have a quarterback like Lanorris Sellers, but he ain't getting him, douchebag. Florida State. You think Lanorris Sellers will leave South Carolina and go to Florida State so he can go 2-10? Or no, maybe he can go 12-0. I don't know. I mean, it's either one or the other. There seems to be no middle ground there with the Florida State folk. No, and the number one destination site was Georgia. Give me a break. I mean, how many 5-star quarterbacks has Kirby Smart stacked up on a roster there, and seemingly used the wrong one year after year after year after year? That's not happening. This guy's going to stay where he's won, where he's become a winner, where the people love him, where the coaching staff loves him. And I think Sports Talk Jay believes it himself. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does, I don't know. That South Carolina is just some poor, decrepit, backwoods university fan base that has absolutely dust rolling around in its NIL checkbook, and that we can't keep any good players, and everybody leaves here, which is, it's all absolute bullshit. He's basing all this off of like Marshawn Lloyd and Jaheim Bell leaving a couple of years ago, which neither one of these guys were Shane Beamer guys. They weren't. They weren't vested in the program, and they left. Wonderful. Juice Wells did his thing. Juice Wells is someone that we picked up out of the portal. He doesn't have any loyalty to anybody or anyone. Has anybody checked on him lately? Does he plan on getting in the portal again? If he has any more eligibility left, someone please let me know about the whereabouts of Juice. Where's Juice? But it's all complete and utter trash. None of this is true, but people will eat it up because somebody put it out there. Somebody that has a platform put it out there. So anyway, I'm never going to be able to make videos like that, I don't guess, where I get tons of people engaged with just things that are absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to be driving around this tater chip truck my whole life, I guess, which is fine with me. It's fine with me. Don't get it twisted. I like this. I'm just fine. But hey, you can tell that Jay will tell you that he doesn't know what he's talking about without telling you that he doesn't know what he's talking about. When he talks about Lanorris Sellers, he said, well, I like him. He's a great runner, but he needs to work on his passing a lot. He throws kind of flat-footed and this, which I'm not going to disagree with all of that. But his biggest problem is not his mechanics as far as throwing football. That's not his biggest issue, Gamecock fans, and we all know what is his biggest issue. It's ball security. It has nothing to do with his throwing ability. He needs some help from wide receivers, is what he needs. And I've watched some people who actually know what they're talking about watch him and talk about him and his wide receivers and look at this and break down film. He doesn't always get a ton of help from his wide receivers. If you remember that interception that he threw on Saturday against Clemson there at the beginning of the fourth quarter was kind of on his wide receiver, who didn't come back across that defensive back, Khalil Barnes, for Clemson, who picked off the pass. Sellers knew where he wanted to throw the ball. He knew where he wanted him to be. He just wasn't there. So, and then he also goes on to talk about him. He wears the goggles, which I like because it's an underdog. Now, he doesn't even wear the damn goggles anymore. He wears contacts, and he's gotten much, much better since he put the contacts in and took the goggles off. Please let me know you don't know what you're talking about, because you don't know what you're talking about. Like, enough with him and talking about people that don't know what you're talking about. Here's another one for you. Oh yeah, that's a Clemson man there. Is that from Twitter or is that from the comment section of YouTube? I think it's from Twitter. Salty after the game on Saturday. Sellers is the whole team. Everybody else is trash, y'all. Everybody else might as well go away. They're all absolute garbage. South Carolina does need some help at wide receiver, though, still. And from what I've heard, just some rumblings from what I've heard, there's an individual who plans to get in the transfer portal that South Carolina and them may be having a real keen interest in, and they may have a real keen interest in South Carolina. You just have to check back on that one and see, but it's pretty good from what I hear. Here comes another one. Gamecock fans, that's it. They were the better team. They just choked. They choked it away. Well, I'll say that they definitely did choke. They weren't the better team, though. You choked after we'd taken the lead. South Carolina just wanted it more than you, Tater Man. They just wanted it more than you. and they took it from you. It's like taking candy from a baby. The fact of the matter is, South Carolina was the much better team, and South Carolina played a C-minus game on Saturday afternoon and still was able to come away with a win. That's the mark of a really good team. Now let's talk about these playoffs, this college football playoff stuff. South Carolina's not going to be in the college football playoff. I think that's already been discussed, debated, and we're pretty much destined to a bowl game. Looking like most likely it's going to be the Citrus Bowl, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. So there's no longer a Cheez-Its Bowl now, I'm assuming. I think the one that was the Cheez-Its Bowl is now the Pop-Tart Bowl. So they've gone from one snack that Carolina Jackpot actually likes in Cheez-Its to the Pop-Tarts, which I liked even more than Cheez-Its. Little known fact there about me. But this is the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. So it's sponsored by Cheez-It still. That confused you? Well, okay. I'm sorry. You just can't understand good marketing against Illinois. Which is fine. That's a team South Carolina's never played before. To my knowledge, I don't think that South Carolina and Illinois have met on the gridiron. I know we have not in the modern era, and I'm pretty sure that would be the only meeting ever. And the I can't remember the name of this website. Someone would know that actually puts out these hypothetical matchups. It actually has a point spread on it with South Carolina as an 8.5 point favorite over Illinois. I don't know about that. South Carolina could beat Illinois by 8.5 and much worse if everybody plays that should be playing in that bowl game. Hopefully we don't have a bunch of opt-outs. Deion Sanders is talking about his bowl game. And their hypothetical matchup is, the Alamo Bowl, I believe. And they're, hypothetically, they're going to face BYU. And all this is just speculation. We don't know these matchups to be for fact, but which is weird because both of those are Big 12 teams. They didn't play each other this year. So how can they play in a bowl game? I don't know. There's some loopholes there to where they can play. It will be an interesting matchup, I believe. As a Gamecock, I'd like to play Colorado because I have a feeling that our defensive ends can absolutely tee off on Shedeur Sanders. If he is indeed going to play in the game, and Deion said he's not doing any opt-outs, he's not letting anybody quit. He said everybody's going to play in that bowl game. Well, we'll see. We'll see if you're actually true to your word or you're just lying and talking out of your ass there, Deion. But the 9-3 record that we've ended up with, what a building block. You know, what a diving board for next year. I can't think of anything better as motivation than to get to the college football playoffs than being screwed out of the college football playoffs in the previous year for a brand, for a name. So you know what? We're going to go out there and make a brand and a name for ourselves next year. And Lanorris Sellers has already done a pretty good job of putting us on the map towards that this year. And next year, I have a pretty good feeling that we're going to end up continuing that run. Offense is going to be a heck of a lot better than next year than it was this year. Defense is probably going to take a step back, but we don't know what kind of portal additions that Bieber will make there. He's got a decent recruiting class coming in. I think they finished ranked 20th. It's tipped in the SEC. I can hear it right now. And a lot of these teams in the SEC that are above us, a lot of these guys will not stay. You cannot. I've said it before, and I can say it again. And Lanorris Sellers one day could eventually hit the transfer portal. It ain't happening right now, but it could eventually happen. That's why a couple of years ago I said you can't get attached to these guys anymore like you used to be able to. You just can't do it. Because they love you one day and they'll leave you the next. It doesn't make it any the less hurtful. It doesn't do anything to piss you off less just by knowing that they could leave basically whenever they want to go get a bag somewhere else. But you have to always keep it in the back of your mind and potentially be ready for that. But that's not happening with him anytime soon. South Carolina's NIL has done nothing but get larger and grow. And personally, as a living, breathing example here, I sat here and told you guys months ago that I wouldn't contribute to NIL until I knew where my money was going, until I knew that it was going to be used correctly. Well, guess what? Carolina jackpot for about the last 6 weeks. 6 weeks ago, I think it was. South Carolina's been contributing, or our Carolina jackpot's been contributing to the South Carolina NIL fund, and I will do so every month. How about that? How about that? How about we put almost 80,000 asses in the seats, Jay, to watch football? How about South Carolina is able to? Has anybody watched the press conference with the new athletics director yesterday? Pretty impressive guy, I gotta say. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Gamecock fan. If I just watched this interview and I had no idea what it was, I had no context to what it was, but if I had to sit there and watch the interview of this guy, my takeaway from it would be, hey, that's a pretty professional, put together guy. He really knows what he's talking about, or he certainly seems to. That was my impression of old Jeremiah Dontiel, is the last name, I think. That president for South Carolina, I've never heard this guy talk before. Sound like the Count from Sesame Street. If you just close your eyes and listen to him before the press conference. Pretty wild there. But South Carolina football is going nowhere but up. We got the shaft on the college football playoff this year. I get it. If you sit here and look at it, though, and you analyze it, some more, we won 6 games in a row. We won 6 games in a row. Okay? But when we keep talking about Alabama and them getting in over us, it still just seems like our only talking point, if we don't talk about us winning 6 games in a row, when we try to justify why we should be in over them, it seems like we're trying to, and admittedly so, I've done it myself, we have to kind of flex their losses against them beating us straight up on the field. Granted, we were 21-point underdogs and lost by 2 points. I know. And then the whole referee thing with the LSU. I don't think the committee looks at any of that kind of stuff. I don't think they even deep dive into that much. They value the wins and losses. That's it. So this is why I say to you, remember the BCS computer? Could it potentially be time to bring that back? I'm just saying, take the human element out of it, because there's always going to be bias involved when you have a human element there. It's never going to be objective. It's not going to be. I don't care what random University of Hawaii, University of Nevada, Reno, assistant athletics director at Montana, associate athletics director at George Mason that you throw into some playoff committee, there's still going to be someone there with some kind of bias that's going to swing things one way or the other, away from a more deserving team. I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, taking the human element away from it, taking dirty hands away from it. But somebody would still have something to complain about. Well, somebody's manipulating that computer. Somebody's screwing up with that computer right there. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's about all I got to say about that. Playoff talk is over, but conference championship games are here. Oh, by the way, another real good thing about the conference championship games, if you want to look at it this way, if you want to find some kind of silver lining to that cloud that has befell us, which is getting left out of the college football playoff, is that now you don't have to potentially cheer for Clemson to win a game, so that what is it? So because what they're saying, if Clemson wins, SMU is going to be in, because they're going to put them in there in one of those spots, like the 11th spot, something like that. It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. We're not going to make it in anyway. So you don't have to pull for them. Thank God. I didn't want to. I can't stand them. You know how I feel about those miserable, idiot, mouth-breathing sheep humpers. I can't stand them. And pulling for them was absolutely the last thing on earth that I wanted to do. And quite frankly, I don't know that I was going to do it anyway. I can't. I mean, there's just too much emotion involved there. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and cheer for Cade Klubnik. I'm not going to sit there and pray that Dabo makes the right decision by going for it on 4th down. I mean, I don't get it. But SMU is like a 2-point favorite in this game in Charlotte. And everybody thinks the Taters are going to win. You've got people out there saying they're going to blow SMU out. Give me a break. The SMU's got a 1,200-yard running back. Clemson ain't been able to stop the run all year long. I don't think they're going to start stopping it on Saturday night. I think that Group of 5 team is going to continue what they've started by coming into your shitty conference and taking over the thing. Let's not forget, they went to Louisville and won. They went to Louisville and won their game. You lost yours at home. I've got one over here. Who was it? It's Mike Morgan that does that show with old J.C. Sherbet, which was sickening to listen to this episode that came out Wednesday, I think it was, or Tuesday. You got J.C. over here actually heaping a bunch of praise on Clemson and how good of a team they are, and that they're absolutely going to throttle SMU, guys. We've never known JC to be wrong about anything before, though, have we? Yeah. That's just sickening to listen to. And I put down in the comment section of the video that, I said, listening to you lavish praise on a mediocre Clemson team is pretty off-putting. To which he responded, obviously, you're letting personal feelings get in the way of what's best for South Carolina. No, sir, I'm not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one way or the other, whether they win or lose. Yeah, I mean, we could have a win over an ACC champion. It's not going to help us get into the playoff at this point. So, no, I'm not going to vote for Clemson. Now, granted, he may have published this particular video. It may have come out Tuesday morning. So, in that fact, we didn't really particularly know at that time. We didn't know because we hadn't seen the playoff rankings come down the pipe. What we did know, and like he's retroactively trying to go back and kind of dunk on Carolina Jackpot when he knows exactly where I'm coming from with that. But just because Clemson's been to the ACC championship game before does not mean that this version is better than the SMU team. This SMU team seems to me like a team that's just going to want it more than what Clemson does. Just kind of like South Carolina did. Just wants it more, and therefore will end up being the better team on Saturday night. At least I certainly hope that's what it is anyway, because I can't stand you son of a bitches. You don't deserve to be in the damn playoff. You talk about one that Alabama not being deserving. This right here, this is definitely a bunch that don't deserve to be nowhere near no damn college football playoff. Hell, they've got them ranked like number 20 right now. Just give me a damn break. Give me a break. I don't know of a coach who ends up falling forward across a pile of shit so that he doesn't step in it more than Dabo does. And I can just see him right now, though. I could just see him winning that game, though. I could just see him doing it. And out there hoisting that trophy up with that stupid shit-eating grin on his face, knowing that he backdoored his damn way into those playoffs. You talk about off-putting, that's going to be off-putting. Anyway, whatever. There have been several Gamecock. Didn't I try to wrap this video up a while ago? You see where that went. There have been a ton of, well, I don't know about a ton, but I know there's been at least 3. Maybe it's only 2. I know it was 2009. Maybe. Did they win it that year? I don't know. Maybe 2011 was the only one. But South Carolina actually beating Clemson and then them going out and winning their conference championship game. I think 11 might have been because in 2009 Carolina beat them and they lost to Tech, I think, in the championship game. That's the one with the famous image of the kid in the stands with his head down like this, throwing his ball cap. In 2010, they were nowhere near it. They had a losing record. 2011, they won the ACC, and I believe they did win the conference championship game. I think they beat Virginia. Yeah, they beat Tech. They beat Virginia Tech that year. 2012, I think Florida State won at 12 and 13. Anyway, that's about all I got to say about it, guys. Hit the thumbs up on this video if you don't mind. It helps me out a lot, so I'm told. It doesn't help me get 17,000 views on a video within the first 15 hours I publish it, but it still helps push me out a little bit more to the masses than what I get it anyway, though. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later on. Peace, and I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks. Woo! 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 Woo!